Okay.
Hey everybody, Mike and Lindsay here with this week's edition of the fishing report. So it's going to be an exciting fishing report. As you can tell from Lindsay's face, she has been on the water a lot.
Working on my sunglasses.
So we're actually going to start down south first,
Yeah.
and we're going to work our way up to the northern bay. So let's talk about what's going on south. You just fished yesterday with LJ from GI Jigs.
Yeah.
Thanks LJ for taking Sam Green and Lindsay out, and they had a blast. So
so we caught some rockfish and some trout.
Mm-hmm.
So the trout bite's still pretty good. Anywhere probably from like the Taylor Island area south. On the eastern shore side of the bay is probably going to be your best bet. Biting mostly on like the blue shimmer color or white kind of short paddle tails on a light jig head. So looking for just like shoreline riprap, shallow water is where you're going to find those fish. Rockfish mostly in the same places down there. The shallow water rockfish bite has been pretty good, like Chesapeake Beach area on down.
A lot of fish are starting to work the shallows right now, so definitely look for that in general. Striped bass, trout, mornings and evenings, they're all going to move in and feed in the shallows, but also fish are starting to break a lot right now.
Yeah.
So you know, yes, you can find them on your traditional channel edges and whatnot, but this is the time of year where you can kind of venture out a little bit, you know, look for those small little breaking schools of bait fish, look for that riprap like you talked about, and you were throwing like, you know, 3/8, half ounce jig heads, those sort of things. You can also use some subsurface lures, so I'm sure that, you know, your shallow diving rapalas and things like that are going to be working really well, as well as topwater plugs too. It's kind of, we're not quite there yet, especially on the striped bass, but I mean, we're definitely getting into that zone.
There's been some reports of a lot of fish hitting on topwater near Poplar Island.
Yeah.
So like morning and evening, breaking rockfish down in those areas. Mostly schoolies, but some like low to mid 20 rockfish in the mix there as well. So that's a good spot too.
Absolutely. So you were talking about Poplar Islands. They've, you know, seen a lot of schools of breaking fish there. Again, mostly schoolies, but a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah.
So the striped bass bite, though, has been, at least for the keeper fish, has been up toward Rockhold, Tolchester type area. And as we've kind of heard that kind of slowed down recently in the last few days, but the whole thing is the bite was hot for, I don't know, a week or two. The fish are still up north somewhere. No one has refound them yet, but my guess is Love Point, Pedickery Point, you know, all those sort of areas, one of those areas is going to start lighting up soon, whether it's the Bay Bridge, those sort of areas. So I think we definitely look for that bite to turn back on. When it was hot, it was mostly live spot, especially for the larger fish. Definitely could catch them chumming, definitely could catch them jigging. Again, GI jigs with BKDs, those sort of things, all working really well. So we're definitely looking forward to that turning back on again. I know they haven't really found the big school yet. I still would look towards structure too right now. A lot of times when we're in between things, you know, the Bay Bridge has certainly not been as hot as it usually is this year, but that can turn on like a light switch. Same thing with the pipeline off of it. They can all turn on. And when you have all these kind of bait fish up right now, because spot are up right now, white perch are up, small croaker, all these different fish, they're all attracted to that sort of structure, and the striped bass are going to, they're going to find that food. So.
I mean, for fishing up in this mid-bay northern area, I would just take live spot, soft crab, go to any of those like traditional Love Point, Hackett Point, Tally Point. Like you said, like one of them is going to be the next hotspot.
Correct.
Someone just has to be the one to find it.
It could be you.
Could be you.
So other things, white perch are on fire right now. So white perch fishing is fantastic right now. They are fully in the rivers and the creeks, casting spinners, small spoons, pretty much any little jig, grub you want to throw out there. Again, shoreline, riprap again, and in the creeks and stuff is going to be great. But also our Chesapeake sabiki rigs that we love so much. We say like ours as though they're exclusive to us. Maybe they should be exclusive to us. I think we plug them enough. But anyway, your top and bottom, your standard bottom fishing is really good, and that can be the mouth of the creek, the mouth of the river, or out in the bay on hard bottom. So you really have a lot of options there. There shouldn't be many places where you're really not finding perch at this point.
This has been the hot color perch pounder, from what I've been hearing. Measles. So in any of the rivers, creeks around structure, Severn River, the area around those bridges has been really good. So if you're looking for a shore fishing spot, Jonas Green, probably casting off of that pier there towards those bridges would be good. There's a lot of oyster beds in that area, the Severn too. So and the Magathy also has some good spots to use these sabiki rigs.
And so at the same token, like we said, spot and croaker up here, and you can catch them in the rivers and the creeks, but you're mostly going to find them out in the bay. They are here. Look for 10, 15, 20 feet of water, hard oyster bottom. And again, same thing, top and bottom rigs, you know, bait, that sort of thing, you're going to do pretty well. Haven't heard of many big spot or many big croaker, but that can all just be a matter of timing or where you're finding them. A couple other things too. Crabbing, actually. Surprise crabbing report. We need more crabbing reports.
Yeah.
It's been actually good for the last few weeks. It was honestly just pretty terrible all year round, but it's really turned on. So look for that anywhere 5 to 10 feet of water. Pool pots, trot lines, hand lining, all that stuff should be really good for probably the next month or two. I'm trying to think what other fish we're missing out. Cobia, right? Cobia
is like
so
the craze
hot
right now.
Yeah.
So pretty much, I mean, you might be able to find them a little further north, but for the most part, it's going to be like Point Lookout and below for that cobia fishing. Seems like most people are chumming for them right now, fishing cut bait. You can absolutely troll for them. You can sight cast for them, but the majority of the reports I'm hearing are cut bait and chum.
Yeah, definitely not on the trolling bite right now. I know you talked to a couple people and they said it wasn't really happening that way. So on the sight casting, you can use jigs. You can use almost anything. They're actually pretty gluttonous fish. They're not very picky. Our definite bait of choice is just a live eel. If you're going to sight cast, stand on your tower or whatever, find them, do that. And really, so like they're at Point Lookout, they're a little north, they're a little south. They really roam randomly, so I think you can really find them way farther up, and they will constantly move up, hopefully, as the season goes on. Another note, bluefish and mackerel.
Yes.
Really not a whole lot to say on that front.
Except for that area we were just talking about with cobia.
Right.
The guys that are down fishing for cobia in that Point Lookout area are starting to see a lot of breaking fish, which would be the bluefish and the mackerel. So catching some of those. Hopefully they move up soon.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping.
It would be in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. Right. It's usually an August type bite, but we definitely look forward to hopefully having a really good mackerel bite like last year. That was a lot of fun for everybody. So definitely looking for that. Definitely looking for the striped bass to pick back up too. And for everybody else too, the snakeheads are still wild and everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Magothy, Severn River. I mean, we talk about those rivers because they're just very local to us. But
a couple of reports of people catching them in the Severn River on perch pounders.
Yeah.
Talked to 2 people now. So that's kind of crazy. Popping corks also can be used. And these frogs. So these are light frogs, so you're going to fish them without weight. So like these weightless hooks. And that's going to be really good for the Severn River, Magothy River. You don't have to go to Blackwater to catch snakehead anymore.
No, and I think the nice part with perch pounders, and perch pounders aren't necessarily, you can use a Mep spinner, a super rooster tail, whatever you want. And same thing with these poppers here is, a lot of people who haven't caught them, it's kind of like, I don't want to spend all day doing this, maybe catch it, maybe not. Throwing spinners like around the Severn River is great because you're going to catch perch too. And then you hopefully have the byproduct catch. Yeah. Same thing with like the rockfish poppers. Honestly, it's like, I mean, and we're not quite at the part of the season where they're really shallow. But moving forward, it's like, hey, that's going to be a great lure to catch striped bass on, but also snakehead at the same time. So
and trout down south.
Now we're all trouting it up.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, with the rockfish regulations, like there are a lot of other fish out there.
There are.
And it's just going to keep getting better. So.
I mean, our big sea bass bite at the bridge, that was good. I mean, I think we only had a report of 4 fish, but it was wild.
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
It was wild.
Very cool to hear.
Well, thank you guys all for tuning in.
Thank you.
Definitely, we have tons of stock right now, too. I want to plug that real quick. Rods, reels,
we got a shipment in of a lot of things.
Yeah, I've been sweating all morning.
Yes.
T-shirt here,
so yeah, we have it.
Yep. So anyway, we'll tune in next week, and we'll have a new fishing report for you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.